Banished. The cold wind howled across the empty plains. Dark clouds covered the sky. Inside a tall silver building, a young alien woman stood, her hands bound with glowing cuffs. Her name was Kayla. Kayla kept her head high, even as the High Council spoke against her. Their voices were sharp and cold, like knives cutting into her heart. "You have betrayed your kind," said the council leader. "You helped the enemy. For this crime you are no longer welcome among us." Kayla did not speak. She knew there was no point. Her people, the Zayrans, had no mercy for those who showed weakness. Saving a life, even the life of an enemy, was seen as betrayal. The council leader raised his hand. A circle of guards stepped forward. Without a word, they dragged Kayla through the hall. She did not fight. Fighting would only bring more shame. They pushed her into a small, round ship. The doors closed with a loud hiss. Through the tiny window, she could see the cold eyes of her former friends, her own family, watching without emotion. The ship lifted off and flew into the stormy sky. Kayla sat silently. She could feel the ship shaking under the force of the winds. She knew where they were sending her, to a dead planet, a place where the weak were thrown away, a place where no one survived. After some time, the ship landed with a heavy thud. The doors opened. Rain poured in, soaking Kayla in seconds. The guards pushed her out without a word. The cuffs opened and the ship rose into the sky, leaving her alone. Kayla stood there, watching the ship disappear. She was alone. Truly alone. The ground was muddy and cold. Strange trees, half dead, stretched toward the sky. The air was heavy and smelled of burnt metal. Every few seconds, thunder cracked across the sky. Kayla started walking. She had no plan, no weapons, no food, only the clothes on her back and the strength inside her. Hours passed. Her legs grew weak, but she forced herself to move. She found no shelter, no sign of life. Only ruins of old buildings, broken machines, and deep craters where battles had once been fought. As night fell, the temperature dropped. Kayla found a broken wall and sat behind it, trying to block the wind. She hugged her knees and closed her eyes. She thought about her people, about the child she had saved. A human child, lost and afraid. She had hidden him from her soldiers, helped him escape. She had thought it was the right thing to do, but her people did not care about right or wrong, only strength and loyalty. Kayla felt a tear slip down her cheek. She wiped it away quickly, angry with herself. Zayrans did not cry. Suddenly, she heard a noise, a soft crunching of footsteps on the wet ground. Kayla tensed. She pressed her back against the wall and listened. Someone or something was coming. The footsteps grew louder, closer. Kayla held her breath. From around the broken wall, a figure appeared, tall, wrapped in a dark cloak. In one hand, he held a small glowing device. His other hand pressed against his side, blood leaking between his fingers. Kayla's eyes widened. It was a human. The human staggered toward her. His face was tired and pale, but his eyes were sharp. He stopped a few feet away, breathing hard. For a moment, they just stared at each other, two enemies, two strangers. Kayla wondered if she should run, fight, hide. But then the human did something unexpected. He dropped his weapon, and he held out his hand to her. "Come with me," he said, his voice rough but kind. "If you want to live." Kayla froze. Every part of her training screamed at her not to trust him. Humans were dangerous, humans were the enemy. But when she looked into his eyes, she did not see hate. She saw something else, something she had almost forgotten. Hope. Slowly, carefully, Kayla reached out her hand. Their fingers touched, and in that moment, something inside her shifted. For the first time in her life, Kayla made a choice not based on fear or duty, but on her own heart. She took his hand. The human smiled slightly and pulled her to her feet. Together, they vanished into the storm. Behind them, hidden in the shadows, something watched. Something that did not want Kayla or the human to survive. But for now they had each other, and for now it was enough. The human stranger. The storm screamed across the ruined land as Kayla stumbled behind the human. His grip was firm but not rough. Around them the darkness moved like a living thing. Every flash of lightning showed the broken bones of the world. Shattered towers, blackened trees, wrecked machines. Kayla didn't ask where they were going. She barely trusted him, but she trusted the emptiness around her even less. After what felt like forever, they reached a cracked metal door hidden under a broken hill. The human entered a code on a rusted panel. With a groan, the door slid open, and a warm light spilled out. He led her inside. The door slammed shut behind them, cutting off the sound of the storm. For a moment, Kayla just stood there, blinking against the sudden calm. She looked around. They were inside a bunker. Old, but alive. The walls were patched with scrap metal. Broken screens flickered softly. Strange human music played from a speaker. Soft, slow, almost sad. Kayla smelled food, something cooking. Her stomach twisted painfully. She realized she hadn't eaten in almost 2 days. The human walked to a battered table and dropped his heavy bag. Then he sank into a chair, breathing hard, his hand still pressed against his side. Only now Kayla saw how much blood he had lost. His cloak was soaked with it. Without thinking, she stepped forward. "Sit," he said, his voice weak but steady. "I need to fix this." Kayla hesitated. Trust was not easy for her, but he had saved her life out there. If he meant to harm her, he would have done it already. She sat across from him, still tense, still ready to fight if needed. The human pulled out a small box from his bag. Inside were strange tools, needles, threads, sprays. He worked quickly, gritting his teeth, sealing the wound on his side. Kayla watched silently. His movements were rough but skilled. She respected that. When he was done, he looked at her properly for the first time. "You're not like the others," he said. Kayla said nothing. She didn't know what to say. The human smiled a little. "Name's Eli." He offered his hand again, this time not for saving her, but for knowing her. Kayla stared at it. Finally, she spoke. "Kayla." Their hands met briefly. A spark of understanding passed between them. Two strangers, two survivors. Eli got up and brought her a small bowl of steaming food. It smelled strange but inviting. Kayla took it cautiously. She had eaten worse. As she ate, Eli talked. He told her about the war. How humans had come to this planet, hoping to build a new home. How they had been attacked by many alien races, and including hers. How most of his people had died. Kayla listened, feeling shame curl inside her. Her people had taught her that humans were invaders, destroyers. But looking at Eli, thin, injured, alone, she saw not a destroyer, but a fighter, a survivor, and something else too. Hope. Later, while Eli slept, Kayla explored the bunker. She found old maps, broken radios, strange human weapons, but one thing caught her eye. A dusty folder hidden under a metal box. She opened it carefully. Inside were photos. Pictures of her people, the Zerans, in battle armor. Notes written in human language. Dangerous. Ruthless. No mercy. Kayla's stomach twisted. Her people were not just enemies to the humans. They were feared. Hunted. And now she was one of them. A noise behind her made her spin. It was Eli standing silently in the doorway. "You found it," he said. Kayla tensed, ready for anger, ready for blame. But Eli just sighed. He walked forward and sat down. "You're not them," he said softly. "I can see it in your eyes." Kayla didn't know what to say. For a long moment they sat there, two warriors from different worlds united by loneliness. Then the ground shook. Lights flickered. An alarm blared from one of the old machines. Eli jumped up. He checked a glowing screen. His face turned pale. "Something's coming," he said. Something big. Kayla felt it too. A deep hum in the earth like the heartbeat of a giant monster. Eli grabbed a weapon from the wall, a strange rifle with parts Kayla didn't recognize. "We have to move," he said. Kayla grabbed a sharp metal rod from the table. Not a proper weapon, but it would do. Together they ran into the storm again, leaving the safety of the bunker behind. Behind them, on the broken screen, words flashed in red. "Unknown ship detected. Approaching fast, and far above, hidden, behind the storm clouds, something watched them, something that had been hunting for a very long time. A broken world." The rain fell harder, sharp as needles against Kayla's skin. Thunder rumbled through the black sky. She and Eli ran across the broken land, their shadows twisting under every flash of lightning. Behind them, the bunker sank into darkness. Whatever was coming had found them. They reached a rocky hill and climbed fast, stones slipping under their boots. At the top, they stopped to catch their breath. Kayla scanned the wasteland below. The world was a graveyard. Giant. Bones of metal and stone littered the ground. Ruined ships, shattered buildings, twisted machines. A battlefield that had ended long before they were born. Eli wiped rain from his face. His wound was bleeding again, but he said nothing. "This way," he said, pointing toward a broken highway in the distance. "There's an old crash site. We might find shelter there." Kayla nodded. She trusted him now, more than she trusted the ground under her feet. They moved quickly, careful not to make noise. The ground was full of dangers. Deep cracks opened without warning. Pools of black water hissed when the rain touched them. Strange shapes moved far out in the fog, too large and too quiet. After an hour, they reached the highway. It was a massive, black road, split in places where explosions had torn it apart. Twisted metal signs still hung from broken poles, their words lost to time. In the distance, Kayla saw it, the crash site. A huge human ship, half buried in the mud, its lights dead, its wings torn away. Eli smiled grimly. "Welcome to home number 2. They approached carefully. Inside the wreck, it smelled of rust and dust. Strange vines grew through cracks in the walls. The floors were uneven, covered in fallen panels and broken glass. Kayla felt a strange tightness in her chest. This place had once been full of life. Now it was only a tomb. They found a dry corner near the engine room. Eli set up a small fire using old parts and a plasma torch. Warmth filled the air, pushing back the cold. Kayla sat close, her sharp eyes always watching the darkness beyond the firelight. As Eli fixed his wound again, Kayla asked the question she had been holding back. "Why are you here? Alone?" Eli hesitated. Then he spoke, his voice low. "My people came here to build a future. We thought this planet could be our new home, but we weren't the first." He looked into the fire, his face hollow. "Your kind came, others too. They didn't want to share. They destroyed our ships, hunted us like animals." Kayla felt shame burn inside her. "My squad," Eli continued, "fought to protect a civilian group. We lost. I got separated. I've been surviving ever since." Kayla lowered her head. "I didn't want the war," she said softly. "I helped a human child escape. That's why they banished me." Eli's eyes softened. "Then you're braver than most." For a while they just sat there, two broken souls in a broken world. Then the fire flickered. Kayla tensed. She felt it, a change in the air, heavy and sharp like a blade against the skin. Eli grabbed his rifle. A low sound echoed through the ship. Not footsteps, not machinery. A pulse like a heartbeat. Kayla stood, her rod ready. From deep within the wreckage, something moved. Shapes. Not fully solid, like smoke-wearing armor. They slid through the walls, through the floors, their faces empty and eyeless. Eli cursed under his breath. "Phase wraiths," he whispered. "I thought they were a myth." Kayla knew the name. Monsters born from the broken energy of destroyed worlds. Ghosts made of pain and rage. They could not be killed easily. and they were hungry. The first wraith struck. It lunged toward Eli, a blur of black mist and sharp claws. Kayla moved faster. She swung her rod, striking the creature. For a second, it screamed, a sound like 1,000 knives scraping metal. Then it faded back into the shadows, but more were coming. Eli fired his rifle. Energy bolts tore through the air, burning small holes in the wraiths but not stopping them. "We can't fight them all," he shouted. "We need to run." Kayla nodded. Together they sprinted through the broken halls of the ship. Wraiths poured after. Them, silent and deadly. They reached a heavy door half buried under fallen beams. Eli pulled, muscles straining. Kayla slammed her rod into the control panel. Sparks flew and the door creaked open just enough. They squeezed through, falling onto the hard ground outside. The door slammed shut behind them. The wraiths slammed into it, but could not pass through solid metal. For now, they were safe. They lay there gasping, the storm raging above them. After a long time, Eli spoke. "This planet, it's not just dying," he said. "It's killing itself." Kayla looked at him, her mind racing. If phase wraiths were real, what else had survived the war? What else was waiting in the ruins? She had a feeling their journey was only beginning. Far across the wasteland, hidden in the ruins of an ancient city, a new threat stirred. Something far worse than wraiths. Something that had been sleeping for centuries. And now, because of them, it was waking up. Truth revealed. The night was endless. Kayla and Eli moved through the ruins like shadows. After escaping the phase wraiths, they dared not stop for long. The world around them felt poisoned, not just by war, but by something older, something deeper. Hours passed before they found shelter again. An old watchtower, half broken, leaning like a tired soldier. Inside it smelled of rust and old smoke, but it was dry. Safe for now. Eli sealed the door with scrap metal. Kayla checked every corner before sitting down. They had learned to trust nothing on this world. A small light flickered from Eli's device. He checked the scanner. An old, battered thing, barely working. At first the screen showed only static. Then a blinking dot appeared. Kayla leaned closer. "What is it?" she asked. Eli frowned. "A signal. Someone, or something, is broadcasting." Kayla felt her heart tighten. She thought, of her people, the Zerons, had they found her at last? Would they bring her back? Or finish what they started? Eli tapped the screen. A broken voice came through, chopped and distant. "Kayla, daughter of the flame. The truth must be known." Kayla froze. No one had called her that name in years, not even at her trial. It was a secret title, given only to chosen warriors of her clan, those meant to lead, but she had been cast aside. How could anyone still know? Eli looked at her sharply. What the hell was that? Kayla stood up. She felt exposed, like the tower walls had turned to glass. "I don't know," she lied, but Eli saw through it. "You're hiding something," he said, voice hard. Kayla turned away. She wanted to tell him, but fear chained her tongue. Would he hate her if he knew? Would he see her as the enemy she had been trained to be? Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the tower. Dust rained from the ceiling. Old metal groaned. Eli checked the scanner again. His face went pale. "They're coming." Kayla grabbed her rod. Eli loaded his rifle. Outside, strange shapes moved through the fog. But these were not phase wraiths. These were solid, real. Kayla saw them. Tall figures in dark armor, faces hidden by visors. Silent, deadly. Zeron hunters. Her people had come. But they had not come to forgive her. They had come to erase her. Eli raised his rifle, ready to fight. "No," Kayla whispered. "We can't win against them." Eli gritted his teeth. "Then what? Run again?" Kayla felt anger rise inside her, not at Eli, but at herself. She was tired of running, tired of fear. She thought fast. "The signal," she said. "It's a beacon. If we reach it, maybe we can prove I'm not what they think I am." Eli hesitated, then nodded. Trust flickered between them. They moved quickly, down the broken stairs through shattered streets. The hunters followed, silent and sure. Kayla led them through alleys, over fallen walls. She knew the ways of her people. She knew how they hunted. But the hunters were patient. They wanted her alive. For now. Finally, they reached the beacon, a tall, broken tower crowned with a strange machine. It pulsed with faint blue light. Kayla ran to it, heart pounding. At the base, she found an old console. Symbols she hadn't seen in years blinked across it. Eli covered her, watching the streets. Kayla worked fast, hands flying over the controls. The machine groaned to life. Light burst from it, shooting into the sky like a spear. A new voice spoke from the machine. Strong, clear. Kayla, daughter of the flame. Your exile was a lie. Kayla's hands trembled. The voice continued. War was coming. You saw the truth. They feared you, so they branded you a traitor, to silence you. Kayla stumbled back, her mind spinning. All her life, she had believed she was the criminal, the failure. But she had been right. She had been a threat. Not because she was weak, but because she saw what others refused to see. Beside her, Eli stared at her with new eyes. You were never the enemy, he said softly. But there was no time for tears. The hunters closed in. The beacon's light had given them away. Kayla and Eli fought side by side. She moved with the deadly grace of her training, striking faster than thought. Eli covered her, his shots sharp and sure. But there were too many. A hunter knocked Eli to the ground. Kayla cried out and slammed her rod into the hunter's helmet, cracking it. She pulled Eli to his feet. We have to finish this, she shouted. Together, they fought toward the beacon's heart. Kayla reached it and tore open a hidden compartment. Inside was a small device. Ancient, powerful. A memory core. The truth was inside it. She grabbed it just as a hunter tackled her. They struggled. Kayla's breath burned in her chest, but she remembered who she was, daughter of the flame. With a scream, she drove her rod into the hunter's side. The armor cracked. The hunter fell. Kayla and Eli ran. The memory core clutched to her chest. Behind them, the hunters regrouped. The chase was not over, but now Kayla had something more than fear. She had the truth, and she would not stop until the whole galaxy heard it. Above them, the storm broke open. Not rain this time, but fire. A new ship entered the sky, and it was not Zeran. It was something worse. The hunt begins. The sky tore apart. A ship, black and broken-looking, dropped through the clouds like a falling knife. Its engine screamed as it slowed, hovering above the ruined city. Kayla and Eli ran through the smoking streets, the memory core tight in Kayla's hand. Behind them, the Zeran hunters gave chase, silent, unstoppable. Ahead of them, the black ship opened its hatches. Strange creatures poured out, not Zerans, not human, things twisted by war and time. Their bodies were sharp and uneven, their faces covered in metal plates. Their eyes burned with sick yellow light. Kayla had heard stories of such things, whispered in fear. Harvesters, machines made from flesh and metal, built to hunt survivors, to erase the last signs of resistance. They didn't just kill, they collected. Eli cursed as he saw them. Those aren't yours, are they? Kayla shook her head. They don't serve anyone, they just feed. The hunters slowed their chase, unsure of the new threat. For the first time, Kayla saw fear in their perfect, cold movements. The harvesters attacked without hesitation. They swarmed across the ruins, ripping apart anything that moved. Zeran hunters trained for years fell screaming under metal claws. Kayla grabbed Eli's hand. This way, she shouted. They ran through the wreckage, weaving through broken walls and shattered towers. Behind them, the city became a slaughterhouse. Flashes of light, screams, and the crack of broken bones filled the air. Eli was fast, but Kayla was faster. Her blood burned with adrenaline and anger. She would not die here. Not now. They reached. a narrow alley, hidden between two fallen buildings. For a moment, there was silence. Kayla leaned against a wall, catching her breath. Eli wiped sweat from his brow. "We can't outrun them," he said. Kayla agreed. Running would only delay death. She looked at the memory core in her hand. It held proof that could save lives, end wars, maybe even change the future. But if they were captured now, everything would be lost. Kayla made a decision. "There's a place," she said. "A hidden vault deep under the city. My people used it to store forbidden tech. If we can reach it, we can hide. Maybe send a signal." Eli nodded, trusting her again without question. They moved. Every step was a risk. Every shadow could hide death. Twice they had to stop. Once as a harvester patrol passed so close that Kayla could hear the metal grinding in their joints. Once when a Zeran hunter, wounded but still deadly, nearly spotted them. Finally, they reached an old plaza, now cracked and overgrown. At the center stood a statue, a giant warrior holding a blade toward the sky. Kayla ran to it and found the hidden panel behind the base. She pressed her hand against it. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the ground rumbled. A secret door slid open with a hiss. Cold air rushed out from below. Without looking back, Kayla and Eli slipped inside. The door closed, hiding them from the nightmare above. They stood in a dark, narrow tunnel lit by faint blue lights. The walls were smooth metal, untouched by time. Kayla felt a deep ache in her chest. This was a place of her people, a place of secrets. They moved quickly, deeper into the earth. But safety was an illusion. As they reached the vault chamber, Kayla froze. Something was already there. In the center of the room stood a figure, tall, wrapped in dark armor that shifted and moved like living smoke. A harvester leader. It turned toward them slowly. Its voice, when it spoke, was a chorus of broken whispers. "Give it to us." Kayla stepped in front of Eli, raising her weapon. "Over my dead body," she said coldly. The harvester leader's body pulsed with dark light. Around it, the air bent and twisted. Kayla knew they could not fight this thing, not head on. She thought fast. She handed the memory core to Eli. "You need to run," she said. "Find a transmitter. Send the truth." "What? About you?" Eli demanded. "I'll hold it off." Eli stared at her, torn, but he knew she meant it. He grabbed the core and ran toward the secondary tunnels. The harvester moved to chase him. Kayla attacked. She threw herself at the creature, striking fast and hard. The rod sparked against its armor, leaving dark scars. But it was like fighting a storm. The creature's arm lashed out, hitting her like a hammer. Kayla slammed against the wall, pain exploding in her chest. She got up, bleeding, broken, but standing. "You'll have to do better," she hissed. Above them, the black ship shuddered. The city shook again. The harvesters were not just hunting. They were changing the land itself. The planet was dying faster now. Kayla realized something terrible. This wasn't just a hunt. This was a cleansing. They wanted the planet empty, silent. She dodged another attack, leading the harvester leader away from Eli's path. Far ahead, she heard the faint crackle of a transmitter powering up. Eli had found it. She smiled through the blood. Good. Even if she died here, the truth would live. She charged again, weapon raised, and far above, in the burning skies, something ancient opened its eyes. Something that had been waiting for this moment for thousands of years. And now, it was awake. Last stand. The air trembled. Deep underground in the vaults of a dead world, Kayla faced the harvester leader. Her body ached. Blood ran down, her arms and legs. Every breath burned like fire in her chest. The creature moved with terrible grace, its body half smoke, half metal. Its eyes burned yellow, locked onto her. Above them, the ruined city shook. The black ship had begun its final task, tearing the land apart. Kayla gripped her weapon tighter. She would not die here without a fight, not while Eli still had a chance. The harvester struck first, fast as lightning. Kayla dodged, the metal claws slicing the air where her head had been. She countered, driving her rod into the creature's side. Sparks flew, but the creature barely flinched. It swung its massive arm, throwing her across the chamber. Kayla hit the ground hard. Pain exploded through her body. "Get up," she told herself. She remembered the old words whispered to her long ago. "You are the flame. You are the fire that does not die." With a growl, Kayla rose. She couldn't win by strength. Not against something built from death itself. She had to be smarter, faster. She led the creature deeper into the vault, weaving between ancient machines. She struck where she could. Wires, joints, weak points. Each hit slowed the monster. Each hit made it angrier. Meanwhile, far ahead in the tunnels, Eli reached the transmitter room. The console flickered to life under his hands. Dust and age fought him, but he forced the machine to work. He inserted the memory core. The system scanned it. A progress bar crawled across the screen. 1%. Outside the chamber, distant booms shook the walls. The city was dying faster now. If he didn't send the signal soon, they would all be buried under fire and stone. Eli looked over his shoulder. He trusted Kayla to buy him time. He just hoped it would be enough. Back in the vault, Kayla danced the line between life and death. Thew, harvester leader, slammed into machines, tearing them apart, trying to reach her. She lured it closer to the old energy coils, half dead but still dangerous. Timing had to be perfect. She ducked under a claw, rolled across the floor, and threw her, rod like a spear. It struck the control panel. The energy coils roared to life, arcs of lightning shooting out. The harvester leader screamed, a sound that shook the ground, as the electricity wrapped around its body. Kayla didn't wait. She charged. She ripped a fallen metal beam from the ground and drove it straight into the creature's chest. There was a blinding flash, and then silence. The creature shuddered once and collapsed into black smoke and broken metal. Kayla dropped to her knees, gasping. It was over. For now, she forced herself to stand. She had to reach Eli. Every step was a battle, but she pushed forward. When she reached him, the transmitter was almost ready. 90%. Eli smiled when he saw her. "You look terrible," he said. Kayla smiled weakly back. "You should see the other guy." They shared a brief moment of warmth, two warriors at the end of the world. The transmitter beeped. 95%. 96. The building groaned around them. Cracks raced up the walls. Dust rained from the ceiling. "We're out of time," Eli said. Kayla nodded. She stood guard while the machine finished its work. They both knew what would happen when the signal went out. The harvesters would sense it, and they would come. The transmitter flashed green, upload, complete. The truth was free now. Across the stars, hidden in old channels and forgotten networks, the memory core would spread. The lie of Kayla's exile, the crimes of her people, the warnings of the harvesters. Everything. Eli pulled Kayla into a run. "We have to move," he shouted. But as they turned toward the exit, the ground split apart. From the fissure rose something huge. It was not a harvester. It was something older. Something worse. A creature of shadow and bone, with eyes like burning holes. It had waited centuries for this world to fall. Now it would feast. Kayla and Eli froze. There was no running from this, no hiding. Kayla tightened her grip on her last weapon. Eli raised his rifle. They stood side by side. "We make our stand here," Kayla said. Eli grinned through the fear. Together, the creature roared, a sound that tore the sky. Kayla roared back. Together they charged. The final battle had begun. Redemption. The creature towered over them. Its body was made of broken bones, black stone, and living darkness. Its mouth was filled, with jagged teeth, its eyes endless pits of burning hunger. The ground cracked under its weight. Kayla gripped her weapon tighter. Her body was broken, bleeding, but her spirit burned brighter than ever. Beside her, Eli loaded his last power cell into his rifle. His hands shook, but his eyes were steady. This was it, the final battle. The creature roared and the ruins around them shook. Without waiting, Kayla and Eli charged. The world turned into chaos. Kayla dodged a claw the size of a tree. She struck hard and fast, hitting weak points, knowing she couldn't kill it, only slow it down. Eli moved like a ghost, firing shot after shot into the creature's joints, its eyes, its exposed heart. But the monster was ancient. It had survived. Wars, fallen empires, endless time. It would not fall easily. The creature lashed out, throwing them aside like broken dolls. Kayla hit a fallen wall hard. She coughed blood but forced herself to stand again. She saw Eli struggling to rise, his rifle broken, his body shaking. She knew they could not win by fighting. They had to outsmart it. Her mind raced. This place, this vault, it wasn't just a shelter. It was a trap, a cage built long ago to hold something terrible, this creature, and now the trap was broken, but maybe, just maybe, it could still be used. Kayla ran toward an old control panel half buried in rubble. Her hands flew over the controls, praying the old system still lived. The creature saw her and roared. It charged. Eli, wounded and bleeding, threw himself in its path. He screamed a war cry and fired his last weapon, a small plasma grenade, straight into its open mouth. The explosion shook the chamber. The creature reeled back, stunned for just a moment. It was enough. Kayla activated the core. Ancient machines rumbled to life. Energy surged through the walls. The vault was a weapon it had always been, built to trap and destroy things like this. Kayla screamed to Eli. "Run!" Eli didn't hesitate. He limped toward her, blood streaming from his side. Kayla waited until he passed her. Then she slammed her fist onto the final switch. Energy walls shot up around the creature, caging it in pure burning light. The creature screamed, a sound that tore the mind, a sound that spoke of 1,000 deaths. It thrashed, trying to escape. But the cage held. The ancient trap still had strength. Kayla and Eli stumbled into the final tunnel as the vault began to collapse. The walls crumbled behind them. Fire and smoke chased them like living beasts. They ran. They ran with everything they had left. When they burst into the open air, the world was falling apart. The black ship had crashed into the ground. Fires lit the broken city. The harvesters were gone, wiped away by the energy blast. And above them, cutting through the smoke, was a ship. Not a harvester ship, not a Zeran warship, a human rescue ship. Eli stared up, hope lighting his battered face. "They got the message," he whispered. Kayla smiled weakly. They had done it. The truth had spread. Their fight had not been in vain. Rescue teams dropped from the ship on cables, rushing toward them. Kayla staggered forward, supporting Eli. But as the rescuers neared, Kayla felt a cold hand on her heart. She was not human. She was Zeran. Would they accept her? Would they kill her, just as her own people had tried? She looked at Eli. He understood without her speaking. He gripped her hand tightly. "You're one of us now," he said firmly. "You're my family." Kayla's throat tightened. She had fought for so long, alone. Now maybe she didn't have to be alone anymore. The rescuers reached them. Guns were raised, cautious, unsure. Eli stepped forward, bloodied but proud. "This woman saved my life," he said loudly. "She saved all of us. She's a hero." For a long, terrible moment, there was silence. Then the leader of the rescue team, a scarred woman with sharp eyes, lowered her gun. "Welcome aboard," she said. Kayla let out a shaky breath. She had been banished by her kind, but rescued, truly rescued, by strangers who had become her family. As the ship rose into the sky, leaving the dead world behind, Kayla looked out the window. Below them, the ruins burned. But beyond that, beyond the broken world, stars filled the sky. Endless stars. Endless possibilities. Kayla rested her head against the cold glass. She had no home anymore. But maybe she could build one. With Eli. With those who chose to fight for hope, not hate. With those who believed in second chances. The galaxy was vast and her story was just beginning.